Thank you for joining us today for this discussion that we're going to have on functional alignment. We're joined today by Major General Mike Schmidt. He is the PEO for C3I and Networks. Mr. Tom Robinson, who is the Director of Contracting. Ms. Cathy Sours, who is the Director of Financial Management. And Brigadier General Dale White, who is the PEO for Fighters and Advanced Aircraft. And today we're here to discuss if delivering war-winning capability is what we do as a center, then functional alignment is the way in which we do it. And we know that coming down the pike, there are some changes in functional alignment, specifically regarding the SML level. And so we wanted to ask General Schmidt, could we get your thoughts on what these changes are and what you think about them coming down the line?
Yeah, thanks Darryl, for asking. So I'm pretty excited about these changes, and I know a lot of the center senior functionals and other PEOs are as well. You know, the structure that we have right now, that we have for a few years, that has been basically functionally aligned from the PEOs on down, and that has certainly served its purpose, and that's the way we started out here. But over the last few months, General McMurray queried and sent some surveys out to our material leaders out there, trying to figure out what's working and what's not working. And one of the common complaints that seemed to come from the material leaders, that they felt there were too many layers of people to go through when dealing with functional issues. So movement of people, appraisals, discussions about people, what's the right timing of moving people and that kind of thing. And so honestly, between all of the center senior functionals and the PEOs, we have met extensively over the last few weeks with General McMurray, Ms. Water, and the entire team. And what we kind of settled on as kind of the best balance here was making it so that we are functionally aligned below the senior material leader as opposed to the PEO. So at least within EN, LG, and FM, and in my case also for the IT professionals, they will report to the senior material leaders, but the secondary supervisor, if you will, or the additional rater, if you will be the functional chain of command. So that's the technical change that we've gone through. And I think that strikes the right balance. Now, I would say that I hope people out there weren't getting the sense that we at the PEO and center senior functional level don't talk and don't get along and we fight all the time, because that's just not the case. And in fact, the people here on this interview, as well as with the other PEOs and the center senior functionals, we've worked together, most of us, for many, many years and in different jobs. And honestly, I respect all the people on this panel a great deal, as well as all of my fellow PEOs and senior functionals. So this really, I thought there was a little bit of a sense out there that it's one stovepipe against another. And the truth is, we are all here to do only one thing, and that's deliver capability to our warfighter. And I know that's true amongst all of my fellow PEOs, and I know that's true amongst all of our center senior functionals. And so I can't really say that enough. But within the structure itself, we are about delivering capability, and the integrated product team really gets at the heart of delivering capability and putting functional people together to deliver that capability. But we need to be poised to deliver war-winning capability, not only in the short term, but in the long term. And so there needs to be a balance there. So today we need to worry about delivering capability to the warfighter. We also need to worry about making sure that all of our people are trained both from a technical standpoint and from a leadership standpoint to continue to grow as people and as leaders and as experts within our functional areas in acquisition. And again, that's kind of what the integrated product team structure is like. We want a team of the best experts to come together and deliver a product and really focus on that. But sometimes you need to lose your best person to go make sure that they're capable of doing the next job and the next job. and in return, really training our replacement units. I know I'm not the only one that has thoughts on this. I'm going to turn it over to Miss Cathy Sours, who I know has some strong feelings here.
Well, thank you, General Schmidt, and I couldn't agree more with what you said. Actually, you pretty much covered everything I was going to say, but I do have a few extra parts that I can add here. You know, we work in a really complex environment. Our issues are complex. We're a knowledge-based workforce. We're not transactional. I always tell my team we're providing decision support to the leaders. So when we talk about this shift, we're trying to get everybody's knowledge to the table. Our IPTs work together. Everyone has something to bring to the table to deliver the integrated lifecycle management that we do. So the functional alignment has our, as you mentioned, our senior division functionals are now accountable directly to the senior material leaders, first to make sure that we're getting the mission complete. But they're also accountable to their senior directorate functionals to make sure that they continue their technical excellence and their growth. And that's a good mix because all of our functionals, program management, PK, EN, LG, FM, we have that steep technical growth and knowledge, and that's because we work in an IPT and we work in a knowledge-based environment. So no one has all the answers. That's what I always say. And every functional focuses on the technical growth of their employees in order to provide them with the training and the experiences that they need to grow so that they can provide that quality decision support. So like you said, sometimes that means you're going to have to lose your star athlete because that person needs to go to another bigger job, take on more responsibility. But you know what? We work to get you another star athlete to come in and replace the one that we had to move someplace else. So the great thing about the structure is also that everybody has a bench that they can reach back to. You know, the IPTs are there to support each other. They bring all of their knowledge to the table. But if one of those IPT members has a question or an issue, they have a bench they can reach back to. They can go to the PEO. They can go to the senior OSF within the PEO. They can even reach back to their functional staffs and ask, you know, the graybeards, as we like to call them, for an answer or some guidance or, hey, have you dealt with this? You know, nobody is out there alone. As you said, we're all here to provide war-winning capabilities. We're all on the same team. There's not a us versus them. And also, one of the things that I know we always talk about is communication. It always seems like that should be the easiest thing that we do, you know, communicating and sharing information, but it's really hard. So it's important that we communicate up and down and across our IPTs. We communicate about program performance, about cost, about schedule, about risk, but we also communicate about holding each other accountable. You know, who's responsible for what? Is everybody delivering what they should be doing? And also about individual growth and professional growth. So including everybody on our teams is how we're going to operate. It's how we operate within this center, and it's also how and why we're as successful as we've been. So that's about all I have on that topic, Darryl, sorry.
So understanding the importance of the IPTs, Mr. Robinson, I'd like to hear your thoughts. What are some ways that we can make the IPTs function better?
So yeah. Thanks, Darryl, for having, I'm just going to amplify what my colleagues have said. If you think about Lifecycle Management Center and the complexity of it, you know, we have a $279 billion portfolio across 12 PEOs. And at the heart of that is the IPT. IPT across all the portfolios. And so that has to work because that's the execution arm of LCMC. And part of the LCMC execution arm is both, you know, the functional piece as well as program management, the SPMs and the PEOs. So we have to work together. We have to make that work. And it has to come through with the unity of effort. And it's about that effort that, as General Schmidt said, we have one mission, and that's to execute for the warfighter. And that's what the IPT brings. And you got to remember the makeup of the IPT. Not only is it all the functionals that we mentioned and the program office, but you also have outside folks that also contribute. You have folks like our legal community. You have DCAA. You have DCMA. It's all one team that enables us to be successful. And of course, being part of that IPT, communication is the key. That's already been mentioned, the up and down, the across. It's a daily communication between the team members and the team members that are actually outside of the IPT that enables us to be successful across. Now, of course, as a senior functional, we worry about the balance between the execution, which is the #1 mission, and making sure we got the right person, the right place, in the right seat at the right time. And that is a balance, because in order to keep our folks, retain a profession, we have to move our folks on occasion, normally on a 3 to 4 year type period. And we have to balance that, and we balance that between programs. If there is a no-fail program, normally people will stay there a little bit longer. But if we do workforce development, we will substitute A players for A players, ensure that the mission continues. And so the IPT is at the center of all that, which the program manager is the lead of the IPT. So that can't be overemphasized enough. So what I'd like to do is turn it over to General White to finish off that question that you had for us, Darryl. Thanks.
Hey, thanks, Mr. Robinson, and thanks, Darryl, and the other panel members. It's pretty exciting to have this discussion. I think the timing is right for this, right? I think going back to the IPT, there are some things, and Mr. Robinson, you kind of pointed to some of them as they relate to the people aspects of the business of the IPT. And I think there's a couple things that we have to focus on, and I think the functionals have done a really good job, and I think kind of lowering that level down to the SML is going to help. But we still have to focus on that, being more responsive with the hiring actions, and make sure we can get to that right person in the right job at the right time, bringing in outside help, because one thing's for sure, that the business of the Department of Defense is not going dry. We continue to bring on more and more efforts, and we're going to have to bring on more and more people, and it's a challenge to do that. I think once we get people on and we get them into the enterprise, we're going to have to work across the enterprise, from the PEOs to the SMLs to the functionals, about how we do succession planning. People can't stay in one place forever. It's not good development. But at the same time, we got to balance that with the mission piece. When is the right time for someone to move? When is the best time to succession plan someone out of a job and give someone else an opportunity? The idea that someone goes into a great job and stays there for 20 years, that's just not logical. And so I think working with the functional community, we're going to be able to make that happen. And again, all of this brings together is just that absolute need to get the right people in the right place and being able to execute that mission. And so kind of going back, summarizing all of what everybody has said, I think it really gets summarized into the idea that, hey, one team, one fight. And I think somewhere along the way, we kind of lost that, and there were some gaps and seams that got created. And so I think what General McMurray has done effectively is bringing the community together, putting together a plan that brings it down one layer, and it's going to close some of those gaps and seams. But the one thing that's not going to change, and has always been there, is we have a chain of command, and it goes up through the PEO. And if the PEO doesn't agree on a functional decision, we can pick up the phone and call our good friend and counterpart and say, hey, this is what's going on over here in my directorate. I kind of need your help. Now, so I'm excited about that, because I think it's going to embolden the team. It's going to make us stronger as an organization. And I'm proud of the fact that we just didn't throw functional management out and swing the pendulum all the way back the other direction. So it all comes down to one team, one fight. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what the SMLs can do with this new tool in their toolbox, and how much more effective it's going to make us as an enterprise. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Darryl. And thanks again. This has been a great opportunity and a great discussion.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. I think this has been a really enlightening discussion about a topic of functional alignment, helping people better understand how they're impacted by this management structure. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.